Hello, my name is Melissa Donahue, and I'm a naturalist at Warner Park Nature Center.
And we are going to hike the Hill Forest, a very special natural area about 10 miles outside of downtown Nashville.
We are going to explore why this property is so important ecologically, why a portion of it survived as undisturbed despite being so close to Nashville, and how it is managed so that it is both protected and accessible to the public.
In 1928, this property was purchased by Horace G. Hill as a home, but his wife Mamie thought it was too far from Nashville, so they moved to Hillwood. However, Mr. Hill kept the property and maintained it by fencing it in and running cattle in the areas. As far as we know, the land was never farmed or logged, a very rare occurrence.
In 2009, the nonprofit group Friends of Warner Park purchased the land as it is adjacent to Warner Park property and, as we will see later, is a very unique forest. It is now part of Metro Parks and also received a further level of protection when it was designated as a state natural area. The farmhouse below was built by Friends of Warner Park in 2013 on the site of the original farmhouse. It is occupied by a private organization, Invasive Plant Control. In this unique partnership, IPC ensures a presence on the land, pays rent, and helps control invasive plants on the property, as well as throughout Warner Park.
On the forest edge, we see our first unique species of tree, a winged elm. Notice the wings are petioles on the branches. There are over 30 species of trees on this state natural area. Now we are entering the wooded area above the farmhouse. This area is where Mr. Hill ran his cattle, and you can see quite a bit of undergrowth in the forest as we hike this section. There are also a number of amazing trees in this area, and we will stop at a few. Here we are in front of a grove of persimmon and pawpaw trees. You can tell the persimmon by their square bark. These trees have hairy vines growing up them, which could be poison ivy or Virginia creeper. This pawpaw tree has a unique bud, which feels like a paintbrush. Another fascinating tree in this cattle grazed area is this sugar maple, which is the tallest in the state of Tennessee. We are now crossing through the first fence line, leaving the area where the cows were allowed to graze. Notice how rocky the ground is. This is one characteristic of an undisturbed forest. Along this ridge, we find more large trees, like this shagbark hickory. Trees on this property can have a canopy height of up to 120 feet and a diameter of 36 inches. It is rare to find so many large species of hickories and oaks, and is another characteristic of an undisturbed forest. As we continue along this ridge, we come across the remains of Mr. Hill's deer stand. This is significant to the property because deer hunting is the reason the area was not logged. As we pan around on the ridge, you might notice that we have trees of all ages here. Another characteristic of an undisturbed forest is a mixture of young and old trees. And most importantly on this property, you'll notice the large downed trees that remain where they have fallen. This creates one of the most significant characteristics of an undisturbed forest, the pit and mound. When large trees are uprooted, a huge pit forms where the roots and clinging soil are pulled from the ground. Then, as the roots decay, a mound slowly develops.
In front of us is a pit and mound, but you can't see where the rotting tree was because that tree is gone. So that means nothing has disturbed this forest for a very long time. These features have greatly decreased in the eastern U.S. forests because of repeated logging and land clearing. You've got to have large trees to have these huge pit mound structures, which influences the soil process and habitat diversity.
Now that we know the many characteristics of an undisturbed forest, let's head down the valley to see another reason why this property is so unique and special. These trees are a little more protected from the wind, and here you can see huge American beech trees and tulip poplars. Here is a closer look at a huge tulip poplar. Notice the lines of holes along the bark, evidence of a yellow-bellied sapsucker, which drill holes in these huge trees in the winter to collect the sap. These protected valleys are also home to many animals, although we are not always lucky enough to see them, unlike this fast-moving armadillo. As we continue to hike into the valley, we see more pit and mound structures, along with a mixture of young and old trees. Here near the bottom of the valley, we see huge trees. Check out the moss-covered roots of this old American beech. Here are three different species of trees seemingly growing from one set of roots. On your left, we have a maple, in the center, a red oak, and on the right, a white ash. This is one of the largest northern red oaks on the property. As we leave the hollow with the big trees, we will cross this wet-weathered creek and head up to a dry ridge. There is a significant difference between these two ridges. The ridge we are heading to has arid, dry soil and different species of plants, such as deerberry and farkleberry. Within these 225 acres, there are at least 252 species of trees and countless animal species yet to be documented. As we continue to explore and study this unique ecosystem, we have many management procedures and policies to place both to protect this place while also providing limited access to the public. Thank you for joining us on this hike today. However, it is truly remarkable that this piece of property exists and, in fact, is the largest undisturbed forest ecosystem this close to a metropolitan area east of the Mississippi River. Only 7% of the forest land in the U.S. is undisturbed, and we are extremely lucky to have the hill forest in our backyard. Tours are conducted on this property November through March.
Please check the Warner Park Nature Center schedule or call us at 615-862-8555.